Good afternoon. I welcome you all to the session, Nandini Ramnath in conversation with Agnès Godard. We are delighted to have Ms. Agnès Godard, well-renowned French cinematographer and chairperson, International Jury 29th IFFK. She is also known for her evocative and visually poetic work in cinema. We are also delighted to have Ms. Nandini Ramnath as moderator of the session. She is well-acclaimed Indian film critic, journalist, and writer. I invite them both to the stage for the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I must say that yesterday and even today outside, everywhere, I'm amazed to see so many cinema lovers attracted by this beautiful festival. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here in the middle of a very packed schedule where you don't know what to watch and what to miss. Thank you, IFFK, for having me, giving me the honor of talking to you. I would like to start by asking you, is it correct that you originally trained in journalism? So what made you sort of step into cinema?
It's because to study journalism was in a way a kind of a false start. It's because I was attracted already by cinema, but my parents thought it was not really serious to think that way. So I had to make a little detour, so I studied journalism for 4 years, then started to work in an agency, and but then quit because that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to work on films and precisely with images. So I studied, I went to the university working half-time, but it was only theoretical studies. And then one day I decided to try to pass the exam, the concours, to enter the National Film School, because at the time I thought there was no other way. This was in the 70s, and I must say I did not know anything about the world of cinema, no relation in any form, in my family related to, I don't know, to be a photographer or cinema or painter or anything like that, nothing. So, and then when I had the chance to be accepted in the school, so I went there for 3 years, even a bit more, and that's how I end up starting working. Though I was quite shy at the beginning, but I had the chance to work 2 days in the school with a really famous director of photography, Henri Alcan, who comes from the old time, but it was a master. And then he was the first one to offer me to work with him on a film. And it was a real dream because I was his assistant already, and it was a Wim Wenders film, State of Things. That's how it started.
Describe to us, please, what was the filmmaking milieu at the time when you were a student? I imagine the 70s, which meant the greatest French New Wave films, the Nouvelle Vague as we know it, had already been made. What were you watching when you were at film school? What kind of film movements and cinema were you responding to as a student, as a young woman?
Yes, it's true that the films from the Nouvelle Vague probably influenced me. I watch, yes, movies, but and in Paris we are very lucky because at the time there was even more theater than today, and you could see a film from all period, you know. And I remember one day when I was a student, I saw a poster of a film that I found really beautiful. It was a Voyage à Tokyo, Ozu. So I entered the theater and watched the film. And I was totally transported because I loved the film. I thought it was beautiful, and because it was a kind of family film. And I thought, well, so everything is there in a family story. And this made the link with my own personal link with images, because my father, who was a veterinarian, so nothing to see with photography, used to do a lot of pictures, family pictures, and even movie. And then my father died very young, very early. And when I took care of, of all the images he left, there were thousands, really. I was amazed to see how much you can say with images. So suddenly the link was, was made, and yeah, that's so. For instance, I remember seeing Muriel of Alain Resnais. I must confess that I wasn't sure to really understand the film, but I think somehow this exactly was. I felt so many things. Maybe this difficulty to be certain to understand what was the purpose of the film. I just went through emotional things, and I was very interested and attracted. It had an effect on me.
I think we can say that about a lot of your work as well, which really makes us feel the images. There's a tactility to your work, which is really, it keeps it fresh. You've made films which are quite old now, but when you look at them, they still look very new. When you were starting out as a camera operator, were there many women doing what you eventually ended up doing? And what was it like being a woman in a field that was and continues to be dominated by men in some ways?
Well, it's true that at the time we were very, very, very few. Even as a focus puller or camera operator or director of photography. But finally, I think I was a bit naive, probably, not knowing very well, as I was saying, the cinema world. I was just obsessed by one question, which was, am I able to do what I'm asked for, or asked to? And it's, I think, in a way, I kind of escape the real thing. But it's true that I went, of course, at a time through things, I had to prove more. I could feel that there was less confidence in the technical knowledge, first of all, then, but I think I really had the chance to meet people who were not in this mental disposition, and it's like unified. You are stronger to stay, to take a place, and this was really interesting. I must say that it's still difficult. We are very far away from the parity, of course. even though now there is much more women working, much more, but as long as there is also much more DOP cinematographer today, the proportion, percentage is still quite low. But we are working on it. What the difference is, for the one who are working, I think the less of the lack of confidence is diminishing, definitely. So that's fine. And there is association, or to unifying women. So we are on the road.
Generally speaking, does this lack of confidence prevent women who are cinematographers, filmmakers, even from putting out the kind of images, narratives that they really want to do? Have you seen that in your work over your career?
Could you repeat?
Meaning, does it stop them from saying what they really want to say and do? Have you seen that personally or with other women?
First answer to me is for big budget film, we will not be, called. Definitely, still going on. Then, concerning the work itself, it's true that, but maybe it's even more recent. It was question of what is a female gaze and a male gaze, and this has been a little bit strange to me, because maybe I am idealist, but I think the singularity of a work is the singularity of a human being. I would love not to start to think, who did that? Is it a woman or is it a man? It's a difference. Sometimes I've been told that maybe, yes, there is something in my work, but for instance, if you would ask me in which form, what could make you think it's a woman who did that, I think I would not know how to answer that, because I'm not conscious. The fact is, I am a woman, so I look at things as a woman, because I'm a woman. But while working, I'm looking for something which is right for the film, my meaning, my understanding, and I look for being really a good translator for the director, of course, but just to be right, to be a good translator, I think, yes.
Is it possible for you to kind of summarize your philosophy towards cinematography as a DOP? You worked so much with Claire Denis, for instance. What you just said, you are a translator at one level, but you're also a filmmaker, very much. You're making images that are unique to you. Have you evolved a broad philosophy towards your work, whatever the project, whoever the director? What do you go into a film with?
Now that many years pass by, I think, yes, I finally realized that I am very attracted in, I would say, simple images, but as I was saying, right, an image that contains a lot of things, that says things, as an image that will replace in the right way the words of the script, and the project the director has in his or her mind. And it's maybe still, when I'm filming, my question is, am I right do I believe in what I see for what it is supposed to say, to create, to bring, to participate to the storytelling. So it's experiencing somehow my faith in cinematography, I think, just something like that. And I when I say that I like simple images, it's because for me, faces, are never-ended landscapes. So I'm not tired to look at people, to film them. It's like, it's faces, bodies, landscapes, stories, feelings, atmosphere. It's really, I think we can do that forever. But simple, it's like maybe to go back to photography, Sometimes photography, you look at the picture, you see what you see, but then there is also the outside that you don't see. This is also really a kind of a direction when I'm working, because my job is to work with the camera, to choose the place of the camera, to choose the lenses according to the director. And there is many ways to collaborate with director. It depends on their own link with images. But anyway, so it's and the question is finally, what are we going to show, and what are we going to leave outside? And I think this is a big part of the content, the construction, the form of a film. And well, I don't know if it's understandable what I'm saying.
No, perfectly. There's a film which you've shot, Botravel, great film, really. And it's showing at, I think, 2 days from now. So if you would urge all of you to see it, because it's really a masterpiece. And what you just spoke about, approaching faces, landscapes, that's all there contained in that film. It's a very unusual way to look at many things: masculinity, colonialism, occupation, a sort of alien force in another country, completely bored with themselves, and up to all kinds of strange things. It's also got one of the greatest dance sequences, I think, in cinema. You've also shot another one of the greatest dance sequences in cinema, in 35 shots of rum, which is, that clip is available on YouTube, but hopefully we'll get to see the whole film someday. Tell me about Botravel. Is it your first major project? Is that right?
Not really the first major project, but definitely this film remains apart, because it's a kind of finally, we never approached the film that way, but finally I think we knew that somehow it was kind of be a experimental film. We had quite short time of shooting. It was in a part of Africa, Djibouti, that I didn't know before. The script was strangely written, not in a conventional way. It's a very, very free adaptation of Billy Bond and Marm Melville, and it was supposed to be a TV film for TV. And so when we went on scouting, first time I was there, I asked to go there with a camera and one lens and a little bit of a negative to make images. And I was happy of this request, because when I first arrived there and I saw the country, I was really fascinated, because it was like beginning or end of the world, I don't know, skies, desert, sea, volcano, and the soldier, the legionnaire. So it's true that I was concerned about how to film these men in a landscape, figure in a landscape, how to be close to them, how to see them far away, you know. And so it ended up with a very, very simple setup, just a camera, of course, a set of lenses, but I actually shot the film only with 2 or 3 different lenses, 2 very close, 40-50, which is the closest one of the human view, and also a longer lens, 100, but it's because we were a little bit fighter, I would say, because it's a detail maybe for you, but it was not for us. We never had a chance to see any images during the shooting. And finally, I think it has worked as an emulation, and because every day I think we were kind of pushing and experiment even more, you know, to try to. And but it's true, you know, you are associating what I was saying before with this film, but it's probably the film where it's this way of working has been pushed at is the strongest stage, probably. But and it was there is a lot of handheld camera. There is many places where there was not electricity, so you have to find. So ends up with very simple images, and so everything lean on Claire Denis' project and Claire Denis' directing, and because you are working for a director for a film when you are a cinematographer, and so it's I think but it's a Claire Denis film.
Sure. The film also has dance and choreography and other aspects. There are these wonderful sequences of them training, but they look like choreography. I mean, they almost look like they're dancing, right? So tell me about the way you treated men's bodies in that film. It's not only very unusual, I think it's been sort of imitated since, but people have tended to sexualize this, but this is not there in this film. You're really looking at men's bodies in a very different way. So could you tell us a little bit?
Well, all the actors were not really professional actors, so, and you know, looking for what they were supposed to do there to achieve physical exercise is very, very difficult. They had a training with the choreographer, and the choreographer was also doing that, you know, to get an inspiration to think and to build the choreography you see in the film. So while they were training, I went to visit them with a little video camera to film them, to try to find out what was the best way to express what you were saying about, you know, strongness, masculinity, and because I knew that most of the time they would be maybe you know, without clothes on top. It's a very hot country, and it gave me I don't know, sort of used to look at them like that, but otherwise I cannot add more than you know, I just looked at them maybe as if I would have done that without a camera. I don't know, just But I knew that in between the words, yeah, definitely, Claire was looking for, yeah, this masculinity, muscles, power, lie, war, human beings, dark side of human beings,
Yeah.
but also,
And also sort of boredom and fragmentation, right?
yes.
So some of that fragmentation comes out in a very particular editing style in that film. What is your relationship as a DOP with editors? Have you had fights with them?
Yeah, at the beginning of digital. But no, but first of all, editing is a fantastic stage of the fabrication of a film. And I must say that when I was editing the film I had to do, to finish, to achieve the school, I was a little bit like that. I thought, well, definitely this is fantastic, the editing. But then, no, I went back. I did not quit image. But though, while working as a DOP, most of the time when I'm available, when it's possible, I do go and see to follow different stage of editing, because I think that's the best place for a DOP to see how your work works precisely. When it's not exactly that, and it's a very interesting moment, because in an editing room or in screening, related to editing, you can compare the sensation you had when you were filming and the sensation there is coming from the image you see on the screen. And sometimes it's different. Sometimes when you film, you think, wow, this take was good. And then when you do see it after that, no, it's not so. There is something missing. Sometimes you think, wow, was badly done, and it brings something. So that's why I like to follow editing, because I think we really learn a lot. Then, referring to what I was saying at the beginning, editing changed also with the editing on computer, with a computer, and with digital, because now quite frequently editor would say, okay, I need another shot, I don't have it, so I'm gonna resize it, and so and so. So, it's like, but now it's okay. It's we just have talk in preparation, and I would say, for instance, if you do that, don't go too far, because it will have such consequences on the image. Or, there is a collaboration also, but definitely it's something different. Yeah.
I want to take you back to something you said in the beginning about being a woman in this profession. Some filmmakers, some women filmmakers, don't like to be called women filmmakers at all. They don't want to be called female filmmakers, because they say, you don't say men filmmakers. So what is this question? So just once and for all, I wanted to ask you, what do you think of this label that is there, especially with women as a special category? Are there advantages or disadvantages to it? Do you feel sort of it's restrictive, or is there some truth to the fact that there may be some other kind of approach at work that may not be that people may not be that the person themselves may not be realizing? I mean, do you see yourself as a woman cinematographer, a cinematographer? Is this debate important to have today, because so many young women are trying to come into this field?
It's a big question, because since this is on, I've been thinking about it, and it's moving, changing. As I was saying earlier, ideally, I wish there was not this question, you know, is it a man or a woman, DOP or director? But then probably the differences, singularities, once more, you know, belong to a human being first, before having a sex. An image, for me, it doesn't have a sex. But it's, how can I say that in English so it's understandable? Probably there is differences, which is totally normal, in the way to tell a story. Maybe I would, if I enter a bit more precisely, I think maybe there is not exactly, there is a different way to build a link in between parts of reality. When you see, for instance, I think we do see that in Claire Denis' film, but I saw it in All We Imagine as Light when I saw the film. It's a beautiful film. And but me, I was almost more interested in the fact that I knew the director. She was also a documentary filmmaker, rather than being a woman and not a man. You see what I mean? So it's still, I'm looking for this ideal, not to us. Then during this movement, because definitely we need to improve this situation, there is no question about that, maybe we have to go through steps. And then, though I am very careful with this idea of quotas, because that way, what do you know about the fact that you are called, you know? It's like you will never know if you are called because you're a woman and if it's for parity or if it's for your work. And I think this is cruel. But if it's necessary for a while, maybe, yes, why not? But I'm really, I really think we should not lose this goal, that we should not think too much about a binary situation.
This is a rather broad question. You did a workshop before with cinematography students at the market at this festival, right? Broad question, but young cinematographers, students who are exposed to so much more media than you and I ever were when we were growing up on their phones or wherever. Do you see big differences in the way young cinematographers are looking at image making and at cinema itself?
Yes, I do. Maybe if I compare when I was their age, but it was very interesting because now there is a big space, you know, between their age and mine, and but I really find it really interesting because me, I'm as everybody in the world, I'm trying to follow the movement of the world, the change of the world, you know, so digital and things like that. But working with young people, it's really interesting to mix, you know, a different approach maybe. And then if I can ever give them something, I receive something from them too. And I still learn from that. And I think this is also, this is collaboration. And making films is a work of collaboration, definitely. And it's really important. But it depends of the personality. But in the really, if I think deeply about things, I think they were all motivated by a passion for films, you know. So, is it so important? It's different. I don't know. I think their relation, their private relation, is probably really highly motivated by.
So, is this kind of image making mediated through a kind of cinephilia that is even bigger than what you had? Meaning, if somebody is 22, 23 today, has seen a century of cinema, is exposed to all kinds of media, is there still a sense of wonderment, an element of surprise and discovery? Is it possible for these students that you're meeting to have that, and how do they deal with it?
I think maybe I will put it in another way. I think it's probably very difficult for them to choose what to look at nowadays in this gigantic quantity. This is to not to forget to think about, what is this kind of images we have under our eyes all the time. This is really very important to be able to consider for what it is the images they are looking for, because images for images does not exist for me. When you are a cinematographer, you're working to find out images for a film, for a subject, for a story, to create feelings, so it's not the case, and also I should say not to forget about an ethic, because there is approaching building an image. It's also there is an ethical matter, definitely. It's definitely.
I'd like to now throw this open to people. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm not sure I was expressing myself.
He's a filmmaker, he's a writer. Hi, Tani. Wait, please, use the mic. Thank you. It's not.
John? Yeah. I want to know how you chose Dream Life of Angels, because that was a debut feature. And did you know the Eric Zonka from the film school? Or what made you choose to shoot this film? Because till then you've been working with different filmmakers who were established filmmakers, or Claire, then you people started together. But with Eric Zonka and you, there has been more than 20 years difference.
I liked the script very much, and the two young actresses, I liked it very much. I knew that we were going to have a lot of work. I didn't know that well the director, not at all. I met him, I read the script, I met him, and yes, it was in the very first part of my way, and I was really interested in the companionship on this film, plus the fact that earlier he made a short film, who was kind of a little bit of a rehearsal of this long feature film, and everything put together, I was attracted. We did work a lot. We shot a lot. There was material enough to make 2 films, and there was a big work in the editing room.
Any other questions? Somebody at the back. Yeah. There.
Yeah. My question is, women have made significant strides in Indian cinema, but compared to West, it is very less. So, what your thought about that? What's your take on that? The Indian film, the women representation in Indian film industry, especially in cinematography, the technical side. So, what's
The question
your
is
take
to
on-
her?
Yeah.
Can you help me with the question?
Did I understand it correctly? You want to ask her about
Yeah.
Indian women in Indian cinema?
Correct.
What does she feel about women in Indian cinema?
The representation of women in
Representation of women in
Indian
Indian
cinema.
cinema. I don't know how many. Have you seen a lot of Indian films?
Yes, I was about to say,
Yeah.
I've seen Indian films, of course, but really not enough to have a right view or to be able to make my own statement about that. But yesterday I saw a young woman TOP, and I don't know, but I've seen films that I like very much. I was mentioning All We Imagine as Light, and there is another one I'd like to see if I have time here. So, but it's very difficult for me to answer because definitely I think I don't have enough knowledge about the. It's not representative enough of. But I'm not sure I understood the question finally.
Is that?
Yeah, actually, I was asking about the comparing to the Western countries.
Comparing to the West,
So India,
the representation of women
Women
in Indian cinema compared
is-
to the
is
West.
less. Yeah,
Ah,
it's very less actually. So, do you have any thoughts about that?
the representation in
The
Indian
representation
cinema.
of women in Indian cinema compared to the representation of women in Western
West.
cinema. What's the difference? Correct?
Correct.
wow.
16 PhD theses.
Yeah. Well, first of all, in the West, there is not only one representation of women in cinema. There is a, let's say, a classical, maybe I would say, coming from ages from Hollywood and so and so. But there is also, since quite a lot of decades, another kind of representation. The Indian film I chose to watch, let's say recently, drove me to choose films where I thought I could find very deep and careful and representation of women, representation of what is to be a woman in India. I would be interested by that. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I won't be able to answer any differently.
I actually just have an interjection. I want to ask you sort of, what did you think of All We Imagine as Light? If I were to ask you, review it for us in 2 minutes, as they say, how would you, what was your response to that?
What I like very much is there is, let's say, two main characters, especially one, but let's say two. They are different. The way it's filmed, the way the story goes on, gives. I had the feeling that I could understand, meet, discover the life. It's very, there is a lot of details, but details showing rituals. The way she is, who they are in their apartment, and we don't see the whole apartment, but we don't see it. But I understood if we see it like that, it's because it's very small, and it's the same thing for the city. Seeing the film, I had the feeling that I just had a trip, a small trip, a journey in Mumbai, because the city became a character in the film for me. And then she chose two different kind of women, and it was it was interesting to see they are almost opposite, but then how they manage to go through, to do with what it is, to think about it. And it was really, through these details almost. It's like I was able to fulfill the empty space in between the images and what was not shown in the images. And so it's very, I really had the feeling to have seen a cartography of being a woman in Mumbai.
That's beautifully put, yeah. Thank you. Are there any? Yeah. Front row. Could we get a mic here, please? Could we get a mic here, please?
So my question is, as you said, there are lots of flexibilities nowadays after we shoot. So do you have anything or any habit or any particular thing that we have to have from your time, which you didn't have a lot of flexibility, right, to help us shoot better today?
Well, your question is it, do we have more possibilities with digital? And
do you have any kind of tips, if I may put it that way? Any professional tips? Because you are working, you worked a lot of independent films, you worked in difficult conditions, so something that will perhaps help younger cinematographers work now? Is that the question?
Yeah, and also nowadays it's lot of we have a lot of leverage, right? After we shoot, we can resize, we can recompose.
So there's a lot of technology has improved. What you were talking about, the editing, and digital techniques and so on. But what will help from your time?
But I think it's really important to search something on the set with the director. So if you do something and then after that you change everything, I don't know, I think it's a bit strange. It's so, well, but in the meantime, we have new tools, so why not using it? We have other possibilities, so why avoid it, of course. But this is due to technology, tools, and everything. But I think that way we have to be careful not to lose ideas, because I still think the most important is ideas. And for instance, for a cinematographer, it's part of his work to find out which tool will be the good one for such a film, you see. Because the tool's not gonna make the film. It's the director and the ideas and the feeling you have and the images you are trying to find, to once more translate the best. So this is really important. I've seen fantastic film made with an iPhone, because ideas. And this is really, really important. That's somehow it's joining what I was trying badly to explain badly in English. Simple images, maybe a camera, a tripod, and things you can do a film if you have ideas and a subject you want to serve. And when I say to serve, a director wants to serve a subject, to say something, or to, because it's, maybe it's an old way to think. I don't know. Otherwise, at the beginning, I did not exactly understand what you were saying. I try to avoid to have habits, because otherwise you do always the same thing, and it's not it's not good. I think it's good to keep in research all the time, to find more and more and more. And I think that's what happens in painting, and in every art of representation, music, everything, architecture, everything. Moving forward. World is always moving. And in the meantime, I do think the most difficult time to feel, to deal with, is the present time. Because it's quite easy somehow to look back. It's also easy to dream about the future. But to be right on time with your own time, present time, I think it's difficult. That's also true on the set. But it means, so it's almost synonym of have a doubt, but sometimes it's good doubt, because you are asking yourself questions, I think.
Lots to think about. Yeah, there's one more question here. Two questions here.
Hello, ma'am. My question is regarding your collaboration with Claire Denis, ma'am. What is it about your relationship with her that has led to like this successful collaboration in regard to what you think the ideal director-cinematographer relationship should be?
I don't know how it goes between other people. It's there is always a intimate thing, but I think I was lucky to encounter, to meet her, and it's a real cinema encounter actually, because right as I was saying, my father died very young, and I was still a student in cinema school, beginning of cinema school. So at the end, right after cinema school, I did a short film. For me, it's not written on it, but it was dedicated to my father, and there is pictures of him made by him in the film, and so and so. And while preparing this film, I was looking for to get in contact with an actress, and I didn't know exactly how to proceed. And by a friend, I happened to have the possibility to meet Claire, to ask her advice. So when the film was finished, I invited her naturally to come and see this short film. And after the screening, she did not give me any comment about the short film, but she just said she was first AD at the time. If I do a film one day, would you work with me? So I think, we never went any further than that somehow. I think we do see each other quite often, but we do speak a lot of things. But it's a companionship, we know each other for 40 years now, it's true. But also each one of us have a secret garden somehow. But it's mainly working around the film, because it's the reason why we are together, a film. So that's the main, the cell of the meeting. And I think collaboration on the set should be always like that, between everybody, every department, because if we are here all together, it's because there is a film. It's the only reason, normally, to participate, to create, to give your work, your ideas, your proposition, and your error too, also. Because you do your mistakes, you do mistakes.
There's one more question.
So, hi. So I want to add something to the lack of confidence part question added by Nandini Ramnath. So I feel like still the technical side of the film is male dominated most times. So looking at the gender lens for women and gender diverse community people, it feels like it took a extra courage, or is it the lack of confidence like that's stopping, or like what's the hindrance behind that? Is it the lack of confidence or the extra courage that we need to put in to be established or just to begin the career? I personally wish to start in filmmaking, but still this lack of confidence part hinders me a lot at times. So, and also another question is like, what's you want to tell to young filmmakers or young cinematographers who wish to start their journey? This two part.
So how do you overcome lack of confidence?
Yeah,
Is
and
that-
also
How do you overcome lack of confidence? If you don't have confidence when you're starting out, how do you get over it?
I don't even know if I have confidence on me even today. Each film for me is like the first one. So the goal seems to be always very high. Well, it's just what I was saying before. The film. Think about the film to jump above your own shyness or lack of confidence. To work, do images, work on your side. I feel I don't answer.
Does it also help to have the right community? Because often, sometimes if you find the right community, a lot of things get very easy for you. If you find the right set of people, collaborators, you have to seek them out at times, right? If you're lucky to meet them in film school, great. But if not, you have to find your community. Does that help?
Yes, I do feel that, the time I started to work and today for someone who's going to start today is really different. And I'm not sure I know everything about what you're facing today. Because definitely production film has changed, films have changed. As I was saying, world is moving all the time. And I'm not sure whether if I know precisely what you are facing. But I'm in contact with a lot of young people. My crew is a very young crew. My gaffer is 30 years old. And there is a lot of things going on. And what I feel is all the ones who are very active, I discover that they are not specified only on one thing, but they are able to do different kind of things. And I thought it was excessively interesting because that way it's a little bit like being able to be more independent, not to put the eggs in the same bag, but to be comment on peut dire to be able to oui yes
Multitasking.
Yeah, exactly. And I it's I've noticed that it gives a lot of energy. They are always doing things, and then it's like after a little while, many links are made and help them to improve. It gets rich. They have a lot of. At that time, when you were a focus puller, you were a focus puller. Then you were a camera operator. Then you were, and now it's totally different, And I think this is, it's also a way to be curious, to try, to search, to research still. And I think this is good. Sometimes I envy them to know to do so many different things, really. I don't know if my answer is satisfying, but...
Are there any more questions? We're nearing the end of the session, so one question. That's it. That's the last question we'll take.
Well, sorry, I could add something. Maybe being able to participate to many kind of things, you know, that's how also you build community, a group you'll be working with, you'll be working together, and then even if it lasts 2 years or 3 years, but it will be an experience. So that's how it could be related with my previous answer. Okay.
Yep, there's one last question there.
Hello, ma'am. Talking again about the relationship and collaboration, can you please put some light between the collaboration of the actors and the cinematographer? Yeah, please.
That's most of the time it's a collaboration, a mute collaboration. But it's very important because at the beginning of the work I noticed that quite often when the directors say cut, the actors would have a look first to the cameraman. So I discover that they probably feel that they are in our hands. And I understood that they must they must be confident. So I try to have with or without words, but I will never interfere or speak to an actor or actress on the set without asking before the director. Or sometimes, if I have something to say about the acting, I would go and tell the thing, but in the ear of the director, never in the front of anybody, you know. But then I like very much the relation with the actors, almost without words, because it's like they allow me to look at them all the time, even when we are not shooting, you know, to even discover that maybe to look at this person like that and not like that or like that. I don't know, so I'm free to film them as and make them believe it's fine to let me do like that. And I have because it's true that it's a very strange, very rich and warm relation, filming people during weeks and weeks. It's like you know them, though you don't really know them. But it's like, for me, it's like trying to see what it's impossible to see, in other words, to see what they are in mind. And I think somehow if they feel that, if they, I don't know, it's it makes me still believe in cinema and making films and things like that. It's but we can after work have conversation and you know, share taste films and it's how to know someone through cinema. Well, it's and it's also it's rich for you. You learn a lot.
Complete my question, please. Can you please give some tips to the young actors that how should they approach this relationship?
Young, you mean kids?
The actors.
Actors. How should actors approach their relationship with you?
Oh, I'm not asking anything to her. I let them. I consider I have to feel to guess to understand what relation they have with the camera and the person behind the camera, because I somehow it's very maybe strange what I'm gonna say, but I discover there is different type of actors. There are those who like to be filmed. There are those who are a bit more shy with that, and there are those who don't even know where is the camera. So but you have to do with that. You cannot tell them, well, don't turn your head, or, that's not possible. That's your job. You have to do it, and to be fine enough to make them secure, feel them secure, especially for delicate sequences and so and so. I went through different episodes like that with young actresses and naked sequences. And I remember once I had to ask everybody to leave the set and to let me alone with her to speak for La vie rêvée des anges. And it was okay after 15 minutes spent with her. It's because a camera can be really cruel.
Have you worked with intimacy coordinators? Have you worked with what they call intimacy coordinators nowadays?
No, not yet. No. No. But probably also because I've been working with directors who kind of did not need really that regarding to what they were looking for. And also because time changed. I haven't experienced that anyway.
Okay, no more questions? I think so. Okay, that's one last one, yeah? We're out of time. One last one. Thank you.
Hi, I happen to be, Claire Denny came for a masterclass at the Film Institute in Pune.
Speak up, we can't hear.
Claire Denny came for a masterclass at FTI in Pune, and I happened to be part of the faculty. And a very interesting thing Claire talked about when talking about especially the longer takes in and the collaboration between you and Claire, like Boutravail or the dance sequence at the end, Rhythm of Life, or 35 shots from the particular dance sequence you, Nandini, just talked about. It happens to be that Claire shared with us that they were first takes. A lot of your long takes were first takes. So I was very curious because those are very, those long takes almost are poetry in cinema for Claire's films, and you guys did an amazing choreography. But they are all long takes. So can you please talk about your work in those long takes and the poesis that come out from the performance and the choreography of the camera? Can you please talk about that?
For that, I think I must explain that Claire has not been working with a monitor for many, many years. Maybe now she is because digital, but she's so she knows what we do see with the camera. She knows the lenses and everything. So when working, if I had the camera on shoulder, for instance, and for long takes, she would watch beside me, beside the camera, the actors, but she would see also what I was filming, She would let me do it, in a kind of improvisation, but she would follow the camera, the movement, so she knows. She could guess what I was filming. And I think that's why we were able to work that way. It's different now with the monitors because I think, yeah, it's different. But I think it's also because I finally understood somehow that maybe by letting me filming with the camera on shoulder, so kind of being alone with that, and watching me and watching what I was filming, it was maybe she was trying to see if I understood well what she was looking for, without having to make drawings and so and so. So to be, it's like to check. It was so there is really like it's like a running, when you feel this little piece of wood when they are going around. It's that way it's collaboration, but then it's also to first take. There is always something special in first take. As in life, there is always something special. First time you see someone, the way you look at this person is special, definitely. So she was looking for something like that, and I think also the challenge we lacked, both the challenge of long takes and when something is on, so what's happening is what you were looking for, but then sometimes actors propose even more and more and more, and then something unexpected might arrive, and that way you can have it. If you cut before, you don't have it, and so it's really, it becomes a moment that has been created by all the ingredients that were put together by the director on the set, and I think this gives a special energy and a special document, almost, I would say, as a witness of what happened.
Thank you so much, actually. Just an extension to the same question, I saw Claire's documentary which you shot on Jacques Rivette, and there's a moment where Jacques Rivette and Claire Denis are talking and you're following them, and then you leave them and go more toward the yard while they start talking and they disappear. And it's about 45-50 seconds or a minute later, the road actually converges and you meet them. And this is an incredible shot, and this kind of idea for a documentary was really unique and very illuminating. But was it like a plan? It looked like it not. And so how did that happen?
I don't know, but it's sometimes, I don't know, maybe because I thought filming them was really long and long and long and maybe boring, I don't know. And I was attracted. I thought maybe, yes, it's a long walk, and maybe we should see in which location they are, and then we find them. I don't know, maybe something like that. But it's also part of something that I do sometimes in the dancing sequences. Dance sequence is a matter of being in the rhythm of the actors and the music and the movement. So, when you are dancing in life, but then suddenly, if you see something, you are filming faces, you see there is a movement of the hand or something like that. Suddenly, I feel like, okay, I will leave. I will have just to see. Oh, okay, he's putting his hand like that. I do see it, and then I go up again. It's for me. I would just say that it's to find the rhythm of the actors and then adding the rhythm of the camera to make it more alive, to make it, I don't know, to... That's... I have a little anecdote about that. I was a camera operator of on Wings of Desire, Wim Wenders, and there is a certain long shots, dolly shots, especially with the angels in the bibliothèque library, and then ends of shots were always the same, framing only one angel, because it was like what we went through was what it was saying before. And then the camera would go up. That was a demand of Wim. And then they were angel. So I just framed, leaving a lot of hair above the hair, because we were watching them from above. And 1 take, 2 take, 3 takes, and Wim came to me and said, "There is too much hair above the hair." And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna try to do it." And believe me or not, and I was quite shy because it was only the second film I was operating, I could not stop myself to leave more hair, because for me they were more floating as angel and not human beings. And a few years later, I was working on a film, and the director, Bernardo Bertolucci, was having a part in the film, and we were doing a very complicated shot with him. Well, at the end of the day, he came to see me, and he said, "Oh, you are the one who were framing Wings of Desire. I love this end shot of angels." So it was really funny. So you see, it's really like, there is no truth. It's just, but I don't know, maybe Wim finally get used to it. I don't know. But for me, they really had to be floating. It's like the same thing to go to relation with the actors. You know, Wim didn't know if he wanted the actor to look into the camera or right beside. So we made tests with Bruno Gans. And as soon as Bruno Gans looked into the lens, of course, it was like he was looking at me. So I said, "Wow, that's fantastic." So we went for that. And I did not speak really that much, did not have much contact with Bruno Gans on the shooting. But at the end of the film, there was a party, and he came to me, and smiling, he said, "We do know each other a lot," because there was many films, many shots he was looking into the camera. And I was so amazed, because, you know, each time I thought it was fantastic. So you see, without words, there was a connection.
We're done. Yeah. Thank you. You've given us so much to think about. You keep using the word simple, but this was a profound discussion for profound work. So thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Linda.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to the crowd.
Thank you for your interest.